This week, My Fund Futures announced major prop firm changes, and now there's 3 different new accounts. We have the core plan, we have the scale, we have the pro. We're going to talk about the differences in these 3 plans. And if you like the previous accounts, the starter, starter plus, and expert accounts, I'm also going to show you how you can still purchase those accounts. Now, before we get started, I want to let you guys know right now, My Fund Futures is having a sale on all 3 of these accounts. You can purchase a $50K evaluation account called the core plan for as little as $66. And if you pass the evaluation, there's no activation fee. Take advantage of these offers. Use the link in the description box down below. This week, My Fund Futures not only introduced 3 new accounts, but now they made it where we can have up to 5 50K funded accounts. And I've been getting a lot of questions on the live stream. Mike, what is the difference between these 3 accounts? Well, let's take a look at it. The pro, we can get the 50K, 100K, and 150K account size. In the scale plan, it also comes in the 50K, 100K, 150K account size. However, if you're looking at the core, which is going to be the cheapest evaluation account that My Fund Future offers, this account only comes in the 50K account size. Now, there has been quite a bit of changes. If you guys remember in the past, My Fund Futures had the starter plan. That was also only available in the 50K account size. Now, one thing that you'll notice is if we look at all the different accounts, we start off looking at the core. Notice the profit target is $3,000 for the evaluation with a trailing drawdown of $2,000. In the scaling plan, we also have that same profit target, the same trailing drawdown, and the same can be said with the pro account as well. Now, there are some differences within these accounts. However, the rules for the evaluation are basically going to be the same. For instance, if we come right up here to the FAQ, I type in core and I jump over and take a look at the core plan. Let's look at some of the rules for this plan. We can see the benefits right here. Easy path to a live funded account. Now, I don't know about easy because trading is not easy. Potential weekly payouts. No daily loss limit. Competitive pricing. Now, one thing that they did change within the new accounts, instead of the old 90-10 split, we now get an 80-20 split where the trader can keep 80% of the profits and the prop firm gets to keep the other 20%. Also, the maximum we can lose in this account is going to be $2,000. And if you compare that to the old starter plan, which was $2,500, we can see now that not only did we lose the 90-10 split, but we also get $500 less of drawdown. Now that may sound bad, but when you look at the price, if you use the link in the description box down below, you can get this account for as little as $66. And here's one of the key benefits of this account. Something I love about My Fund Futures. Once you pass the evaluation, there is 0 activation fee on any of their accounts. Now, once you pass the evaluation, meaning that you made $3,000 in a simulated account without hitting the $2,000 drawdown, you want to pay attention because once you get in the sim funded account, which is the accounts to where then if you meet the requirements, you may be eligible for a payout, you can see that you do have a scaling plan for the contracts. So if your profit in the account is $1,000 or less, you can trade 1 mini or 5 micros. If your profit is between $1,000 and $2,000, you can trade 2 minis, 10 micros. Or if you have $2,000 or more of profit, then you can trade 3 minis or 15 micros. Now, in the past with the starter plan, we could actually trade 1 mini for 10 micros. We could trade 2 minis for 20 micros and 3 minis for 30 micros. So that is another little bit of a change. Now, if you look at the payout policy, it's very, very close. You still only need in the 50K account 5 winning days where each day is at least $100 of profit and the minimum you can withdraw is $250. However, here's another change that they did, and they took the max payout from $1,200 to $1,000. So they did decrease that a bit, but you also want to keep in mind, My Fund Futures has pushed down the price. So our initial upfront cost is going to be a little bit less. So there is going to be a give and take. Now we look at the transition live. Traders who achieve 5 consecutive payouts or 30 profitable days have the chance to get moved to a live account. And My Fund Futures is going to give you a live account with $2,500. Now, this might not make sense at first. The minimum balance 140. We'll talk about that here in a moment. They do have a daily loss limit in the live funded account, not the sim funded account, but the live funded account to where you actually have a brokerage account and your orders are being routed to the exchange. Keep in mind, there is still a minimum payout requirement of only $250. And they did reduce the contracts that you can trade. You can trade 2 minis or 20 micros in a live funded account. Now they talk about how you can unlock this $2,500 that My Fun and Futures puts into the account after completing 20 winning days, where each day with a minimum profit target of 4% of your initial balance and receiving 3 payouts. Your initial balance is unlocked. You are able to withdraw from your initial balance allocation down to a max of $140. So what they're saying is this 2,500 bucks, if you've already received at least 3 payouts, you've had 20 winning days, then you can actually withdraw this down. So if you look, $2,500, you'd have to leave $140 in an account. You would actually be able to take out $2,360 out of your live funds that My Fund of Futures put into that account. So something I want you guys to focus on with this plan, pay attention. The maximum you can take out in the core plan, which is the cheapest plan, is going to be $1,000 per payout cycle. Now, if we come over and look at the scale plan, you can see the price tag is a little bit higher, $127. However, with the current promotion going on using promo code Mike, you can get this account for $108. Now, again, there is 0 activation fee. We have the same profit objective. We have the same drawdown amount. And keep in mind, something I forgot to mention in these accounts, all of the accounts have a consistency rule in the evaluation phase. So in the evaluation phase, no one day can be more than 50% of the total profit. So if our profit objective is $3,000, don't let any one day be more than $1,500, or otherwise you got to make more money on that account. Now, if we come over to FAQ and we type in scale, we look at the main differences of this account. Well, one, once you get funded, we still get that same 80-20 split. The maximum end of the day drawdown is $2,000. Nothing has changed. And we're talking about the 50K accounts. You guys can read the rules for the other account sizes if you choose to. There is no daily loss limit, 0 activation fee. And they have that same scaling plan. The same scaling plan that we talked about in the core plan is also applied here. If your profits are below $1,000, you can trade 1 mini or 5 micros. If your profit is between $1,000 and $2,000, you're then eligible to trade 2 minis or 20 micros. And if your profit is between $2,000 and $4,000, you can trade 3 minis or 15 micros. However, here's where things are going to change quite a bit. If you come over and we start looking at the payouts, well, to be eligible for a payout, you have to have 5 winning days where each day is $100 or more. Well, that right there is exactly the same. But here's where it starts to get a little bit different. If we scroll down here real quick and we look at the maximum payout amount, your first payout in the 50K account, instead of $1,000, you can actually take out $1,500, assuming you've been able to accrue at least $1,500 of profit in that account. The second payout, they allow you to take out an additional $250. So in the second payout, you can take out $1,750. On the third payout, you're eligible to take out $2,000. The next one would be $2,500. And then the fifth payout, you're eligible to take out to up to $3,500. Now, with My Fund of Futures, they have a clear path to live. And if you scroll down here and you look, you can see in this account, they start you off with a $3,000 live account balance. Now, when we compare that to the core, keep in mind, remember the static balance they start you out with was $2,500. So in the scale plan, if you do make it to a live account, then you are going to have a little bit more money to play with. They give you a little bit more for the daily loss limit. Instead of $900, they give you $1,000. Now, to unlock the allocation, meaning the money that they put into your account, you can see that it's the exact same rules as what we saw in the core plan. Now, before we come over and talk about the pro plan, I want to remind you guys, if you like the old accounts, again, the starter plus, and the expert plan, I'm still going to show you guys how you guys can purchase those accounts once we look at the pro plan. Now, the pro plan is the most costly of these 3 new accounts. But again, we have the same profit objective. We have the same trailing drawdown. We have the same 50% consistency rule. However, when we go over to the FAQ real quick, and we look at the nitty gritty out here, what are going to be the big differences out here? We have the same profit split. We have the same end of the day drawdown. However, when we look at the scaling plan, here's something that's a little bit different. Once you've already been funded, you can trade 5 minis or 5 micros. You guys remember in the other accounts, we could trade 1 mini for 5 micros. So they do not have a scaling plan for micros in the pro plan. So that's something you want to consider. If you like to trade micros and you DCA, then you're probably going to want to use one of these higher dollar account sizes in order to be able to implement that strategy. Now, if we go ahead and we look at also tier 1 news event, not allowed. So there's no tier 1 news event allowed. Now we look at the payout policy. This is going to be drastically different, where in the core, in the scaling plan, you had to make X amount of dollars per day for 5 days to be eligible for a payout. Well, now in the pro plan, you can actually request a payout every 14 days, not every 5, every 14 days. Now, there is a buffer requirement. This means the account balance must be above that price point. So in the $50,000 account, you must be at $2,100 or higher. And also notice the minimum amount of money you're able to request per payout is $1,000. So remember, in the other accounts, they had a minimum withdrawal of $250. So that's something you most certainly want to think about. That means once you pass the evaluation, you get into the funding stage, you're going to have to make at least $3,100 before you're going to be eligible for a payout. Now, transition to live. This is going to be a lot different as well. For traders who achieve profits in excess of $100,000, then My Funded Futures is going to put $5,000 if you signed up for the 50K Pro account plan. They're going to put $5,000 in a live brokerage account and give you access to be able to trade that money. Now, what will trigger you to go live in this account? 3 consecutive payouts, which, keep in mind, every payout cycle is a minimum of 14 calendar days. Reach a $20,000 profit milestone, or have profits in excess of $100,000. And you can see when they move you to a live account, depending on how much money you have in your account, they're going to start off your live account anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000, but your daily loss limit can range from $700 to $1,800. If you guys remember the core plan, they had a daily loss limit of $900. In the scaling plan, when they moved you to live, you had a daily loss limit of $1,000. Now, your max contracts, you can trade between 2 and 4 contracts. And again, there is no scaling plan. So if you like the DCA, this is probably not going to be the account for you that you want to trade in the live accounts. Because you can see, even with the 150K account, the max contracts they allow you to trade is between 4 and 6 contracts. Now, once you do go into a live account, if you're able to achieve all those objectives, then the minimum payout it drops down from $1,000 down to $250. Now, in order to be able to access that allocation of money that My Funded Futures put into that account, it's going to be the same requirement as the other accounts. 20 winning days, where each day is a minimum of 4% of your initial balance, and receiving 3 payouts. Your initial balance is unlocked, allowing you to withdraw from the initial balance allocation down to a max of $140. So in this example, if My Funded Futures put you in a live brokerage account with $5,000, then that meant once you were able to have 20 winning days and 3 payouts, you could actually draw up to $4,860 out of the money they put into your account. So essentially, that is not part of the trading profits that you had to make. Now, before I show you guys how you can access the legacy accounts, let me know in the comment section down below, which of these accounts do you guys like best? Now, if you want to learn how to access the legacy accounts within your dashboard of My Funded Futures, go right down here to where it says Start Challenge. Now, what you'll see up here is you'll see the new rules that My Funded Futures has laid out. You can see the scale plan, the core, and the pro. But also, if you click right up here where it says looking for starter, starter plus, or expert accounts, you click right there. And now you can see those old accounts. They have the starter plus, they have the expert, and they have the starter plans. Now, if you want to learn how to monitor your drawdown in the evaluation and your funded accounts, make sure to watch this next video right here.